Max Verstappen has had it with Zak Brown's smear tactics. After a whole season of unsavoury side comments from the McLaren CEO, the Dutchman is finally fighting back, telling him, along with other loud-mouthed individuals on the paddock, to focus on their own team. Let's hear him out. Max Verstappen is shrugging off the rumours swirling around his Red Bull racing team, calling it bizarre how some have jumped to conclusions about the team's current challenges. The Dutch star made it clear he isn't wasting energy on the speculation. After a dominant 2023 season, where Verstappen won all but 3 Grand Prix, his victory drought has stretched for months. His last win was in Spain, and since the Miami GP, Red Bull has faced tough competition from McLaren, with Mercedes and Ferrari occasionally joining the fight. Some claim Red Bull's development of the RB20 took a wrong turn, fueling wild rumours that have added to the team's headaches. One of the louder voices is McLaren CEO Zak Brown, who linked Red Bull's dip in performance to internal unrest earlier in the season. But Verstappen remains unfazed, dismissing the chatter from rivals as little more than background noise. He told Motorsport, "Other people shout things all the time, but they should just concentrate on their own team." This is not specifically directed at Zak Brown, by the way, but applies to everyone. Everyone should just be busy with themselves, and so do I. Another rumoured reason behind Red Bull's recent struggles points to a rule change affecting asymmetrical braking. Verstappen, however, finds it odd how such rumours even gain traction, questioning how these speculations come to life. He went on, saying, "I find it quite bizarre how people sometimes come up with certain things. But well, it is what it is." The rumours perpetuated by Zak Brown and the media couldn't be further from the truth because Helmut Marko is confident Red Bull are looking good for 2026. But he does admit that the team's future success hinges on nailing their first in-house Formula One engine, something that could influence Max Verstappen's future with the team. Red Bull Powertrains, established in 2021, initially teamed up with Honda to provide and manage engines for Red Bull and their sister team, but come 2026, Red Bull will roll out their own fully developed power unit. In Formula One's upcoming V6 era, the Milton Keynes squad will join the ranks of engine suppliers, with new regulations mandating a 50-50 split between electric power and combustion, all while using sustainable fuels to drive the V6 engines. The 2026 season will bring not only new engines, but also a fresh era of smaller, lighter cars in Formula One, complete with active aerodynamics, featuring movable front and rear wings. For every team, nailing these new regulations is crucial, but for Red Bull there's extra pressure, keeping their triple world champion Max Verstappen on board. Helmut Marko acknowledged the stakes in a recent interview with Motorsport magazine's Christian Menath, emphasising how vital it is for Red Bull to get their 2026 package right to secure Verstappen's future with the team. He said, "Everyone knows that contracts of top drivers have exit clauses that are mainly based on performance. For now, based on the information we have, we are good. But with such a new project, things like the battery and the fuel can really be game changers, so it's hard to say where we stand. You can't say that Mercedes or Ferrari will be dominant, but within the possibilities we are competitive. As I said, those two factors can be decisive, and if the team or the driver is not happy with certain things, it is possible that the driver will leave. For example, the decline after 2013 was also caused by the new regulations." In response to Helmut Marko's comments about the pressure of 2026, Christian Menath jokingly said that, "If things don't work out, we'll rent a roof terrace opposite your office to watch as you speak with Verstappen." Marko's reply, though, was incredibly troubling for the Red Bull hopeful. "That doesn't necessarily have to be the case because I don't think Verstappen will still be in my office. Then he'd be in a different car." Marko also addressed Red Bull's current struggles, with the team going winless in 8 races, their longest dry spell since 2020. He explained that while Verstappen initially managed to mask the car's balance issues, the problems eventually caught up with him, with Monza marking the low point of the season. Despite the setbacks, Marko echoed the optimism of Christian Horner and Verstappen, expressing confidence that Red Bull is now steering back in the right direction. "You know that these cars with ground effect are very sensitive," he explained. "You could see that with Ferrari, who came with an update and fell back. Mercedes won twice in a row and then they were the 4th team again. The same goes for Aston Martin. The only team that has been consistently at the front since Miami is McLaren. That car is fast on every circuit, with every type of tyre and at every temperature. We had that in the past. At one point we took a wrong turn. That was camouflaged for a while by Verstappen's extraordinary talent, but eventually he couldn't keep it up. The car became increasingly difficult to drive. With minimal technical changes or different tyre types, he was sometimes fast, but sometimes not. It was constantly fluctuating. The balance went from oversteer to understeer. Verstappen could still handle that somewhat, but we fell further and further back. Monza was the low point. But in Baku it went a bit better, and Singapore was a clear improvement. After the Singapore Grand Prix, Red Bull made the tough call to part ways with Daniel Ricciardo due to his underwhelming performances. While emotionally challenging, given Ricciardo's popularity in the paddock, the decision also carries significant sporting implications. In his place, the Faenza team has called upon Liam Lawson. The New Zealand driver, a product of the Red Bull Junior programme, is no stranger to Formula One, having filled in for Ricciardo in 5 races last season. But this time, the move is more consequential, as Helmut Marko has hinted at a key comparison between Lawson and Red Bull's 2 drivers at the end of the season. The Austrian manager shared his thoughts with F1 Insider, indicating the stakes have never been higher. We have decided to compare Lawson and Tsunoda. They have the same equipment, the same conditions, and each now has 6 races to prove who is the best driver. We started with the philosophy of giving young drivers a chance in Formula One. The remaining races of this season will determine what our driver pairings will look like next year. Marko's statement adds extra pressure on both V-carb drivers, but especially on Sergio Perez, whose recent performances have fallen short of Red Bull's expectations. With just 6 races left, any further underperformance could see Perez lose his seat with the Austrian team, making the final stretch of the season a critical test for his future in Formula One. Japanese driver Yuki Tsunoda secured a contract extension earlier this season to continue with the Italian team for a 5th year after his debut in 2021. Helmut Marko has frequently voiced his interest in placing a young talent alongside Max Verstappen at Red Bull. Tsunoda's potential move to Red Bull could be a win-win for both the team and Honda, Red Bull's engine supplier, as they would have the chance to collaborate with a Japanese driver in 2025, just before Honda's switch to Aston Martin. As for Tsunoda, he has expressed his readiness for a bigger challenge in Formula One, aiming to race against the sport's top drivers. Speaking in Hungary, he shared his hope of making the leap to a top team and competing at the highest level. If I wasn't ready, I wouldn't have been able to announce next season completely. I have felt ready for 3 years to fight against the top teams for higher positions, even against Max or anyone else. The next 6 races are poised to be pivotal for Yuki Tsunoda's future. If he delivers strong performances, he could position himself as Max Verstappen's potential future teammate, despite Red Bull's apparent desire to retain Sergio Perez for another season. But according to sources from Planet F1, it appears that aside from Helmut Marko, no one within Red Bull's management envisions Tsunoda as a suitable partner for the triple world champion. This raises the question of whether Marko's aspirations are more about wishful thinking than a solid plan moving forward. With the off-track drama between Red Bull and McLaren ramping up, who will come out on top by the end of the season? Comment your prediction down below, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.